Yo, so meditation. A few people have responded positively to the little bits that I've shared. So I want to go a little bit deeper and maybe read some of this book. So one friend did ask, can you send me some resources on meditation? The problem is that the meditation resources that exist really are either really boring and really kind of, I don't know, they're just not that engaging because they don't really cover the full possibilities of what's there. It's very stripped back. It's too woo, where it's just like, focus on the dream door, imagine the dream door in front of you and walk towards it. And this is just kind of woo, it's just like a fairy tale fantasy story. Or it's too complicated and it's too hard. And realistically, if I send you the links for this stuff, you're not going to get into it because it requires an almost a level of prior knowledge going in for even the stuff to make sense. And this is the huge problem. So I'm really stuck because I see that we really do need an answer to the challenges of modern late stage capitalism. It's a fact that these social media companies are actively trying to distract us. They're trying to draw us into these virtual, simulated extensions of reality. And those extensions of reality are becoming more important to us than phenomenological reality. So, right now, you are watching this on a screen, and the experience that's happening for you is happening in your senses. But the mental sense is creating a symbol out of all that. So out of the visual field, out of the auditory field, out of the tactile and the olfactory fields, the senses, it creates a symbol. And then that symbol is represented in the digital screen, which is this thing that you're watching it in. And then we trade those between one another. And if you like this, literally press the like button, I get a dopamine reward. And that dopamine reward is the same as money. It is the same as sex. And so this technological environment is shaping our minds. They make money by shaping our minds. And they don't want our minds to be stable. They don't want our minds to have self-restraint. They don't want us to be ethical. They don't want us to be anywhere than looking at our phones. The end goal for those algorithms is to get people to spend as much time as possible staring at your phone. And when you spend all of your time staring at your phone, when you're not looking at your phone, the way you perceive reality, regular, ordinary, everyday reality, is changed because your mind has changed. And this is the thing which we don't really have a good understanding of in our day-to-day culture. So I won't go on too much about the what to do's. I want to get into the book, otherwise this will be very, very long. No one's got attention span for that. So anyway, so this book was the one that got me into meditation. It's called Stages of Meditation by the Dalai Lama, and it's a really condensed book. There is a ton of content in here, and when I first read it, I didn't know the full depths of what these things meant. So, for example, chapter 8, the practice of calm abiding. It says, so basically the way the book is written is there is the bold text, which is the original sutra, and then there is the commentary, which is by the Dalai Lama. So I'm probably going to pick bits of this out to try and illustrate that there is another ideology. other cultures have different ways of talking about things, and the language we use to talk about a thing changes the way that that thing exists. So when we talk about our mind using the words like soul and love and heart, this creates a certain kind of experience of reality. The problem, one of the problems that we face is that because we are Westerners, probably watching this, we already have a lot of preconceptions about this cultural tradition, and nearly all of those come from religion. So we have to realize that actually there is a sense of cultural supremacy that we bring when we look at other cultures because we think we know something about what we're about to learn. And the truth is, this is totally foreign. It's not like other religions. It uses what other religions use, but it actually then, if you read the sutras, like in the Diamond Sutra, the Buddha literally says, there is no Buddhism. Once you complete it, get off and stop it. Or in Zen, they say, if you see the Buddha, kill the Buddha. Because these things are understood to be symbols in the mind. Anyway, this is a deep topic beyond scope of this conversation. Little drink. So, the practice of calm abiding. Calm abiding meditation should be achieved first. Calm abiding is that mind which has overcome distraction to external objects and which spontaneously and continuously turn. Let me try this again, fuck. Calm abiding meditation should be achieved first. Calm abiding is that mind which has overcome distraction to external objects and which spontaneously and continuously runs towards the object of meditation with bliss and pliancy. So, what does that sound like to us? Calm abiding is the mind that has overcome distraction to external objects. In the context of meditation, this is chapter 8. And so there is a whole chunk of book, this much book, which is prerequisite to this. When we talk about external objects and internal objects, this is really aimed at a very experienced meditator. And it's saying, really, it's assuming that the object of meditation is something which is not external, which is not quite right language. Because it's not that there is an internal, external. It's that the object of meditation is no longer a material object. You're now meditating on consciousness itself. You're looking at the very experience, the phenomena of what it is to be alive. When you say, I am awake, what is it that's awake? And what are its qualities? And if you begin to ask yourself these questions and look into the mind, you will begin to shape and change that aspect of your being. And so, first we need to focus on external objects because they're easier to perceive. We strengthen our ability to focus on an object without being pulled away. And then we achieve, like a toddler walking or crawling, in the beginning, the toddler can't stand up and walk. And then it reaches a certain age, it sees its parents walking, it stands up, it takes a couple of steps, and then it falls. That's a bit like us paying attention. Now, the hypothesis of the Buddhist tradition is that there is a certain achievement, like standing up, that once you've really achieved it, you won't go back. And at that point, whatever you choose to focus on, you do not have, even though you might not be able to make progress on that problem, on that question, on that act, your attention will stay there, no matter how high the level of discomfort, no matter how many other things going on externally, when you decide to focus on the thing you need to focus on, you do not get pulled away ever again. And that's their premise, that's their hypothesis. And we've got to ask, is that worth having? Now, considering that we live in a world where we are literally being farmed by these algorithms to have negative attention levels, this is really the complete opposite of that. Whereas the capitalistic state, shall we say, that we're in, the capitalistic system that we're within, wants to break down our attention. This is going in the complete opposite direction. This is saying, how can we have perfect attention? Because the thing is with most of the problems we face in our lives, not much of it is that there is a person telling us that we can't do that anymore. Like those old days of there being a individual who would not allow you to have certain rights, that's kind of not all entirely. There's still a few bits to clear up, but we kind of got past that edge. Now the way we control each other is through much different. It's through shame, and it's through emotions, and it's through selling each other desires. And so when you're at work, you can think about it like this. What are the things that you can't say to your boss? When your boss says, how are you doing? You can't tell them the truth. You can't say the realities because society is still controlling us in certain ways. Now, when we have a goal which we want to achieve, maybe that's getting promoted, maybe that's moving on to a new job, maybe that's changing something in our workplace so our workplace is better, we might have a moment where the emotions rise up and we have this conviction in our heads to do something, but then that focus, that attention, the actual power of our being becomes fragmented and distracted, and like a laser beam going through rain, it's firing all over the place that it can't cut through what it needs to cut through. And so calm abiding mind is a mind which has overcome distraction to external objects and which spontaneously and continuously turns towards the object of meditation with bliss and pliancy. So bliss and pliancy are actually technical terms. Bliss, so they said there's 4 jhana factors, 4 qualities of the mind. If you think about it, like there's 4 strings to a bass guitar. A well-tuned mind has 4 qualities, 4 strings. Let's see if I can remember them all. I don't think I can. Fuck. One is single-pointedness. Single-pointedness, non-conceptuality, satisfaction, and bliss, I believe. I'll have to check that, see how good a Buddhist I am. But, so non-conceptuality. This is an interesting one, and also we could, if you went straight down the Buddhist path, you'd see that non-conceptuality becomes the prime category to state your kingdom in. I don't know if that's really what we need in our conversation right now, because we need concepts to deal with racism. We need concepts to deal with structural inequalities. We need concepts. These things are all conceptual in their existence. There is no race in reality, in phenomenological existence. In the world you are experiencing, there is no such thing as race. There's no such thing as a nation. Money does not have value. All of those things are conceptual. That's a separate type of universe, if you like. It's almost like a parallel line, because the concepts never actually come into reality in a direct way. It's only ever via a consciousness. So, a mind that has achieved calm abiding can switch off the conceptual aspect and just focus on a phenomenological thing. So if you think like when you're dancing, or if you're playing music, or if you're really good at anything, skating, I'm trying to think of other things, but you get into the flow state, and when you get into the flow state, all the concepts disappear, and all you're doing is flowing through the phenomenological, physical, ontological, ultimate, the experience of reality itself. And then we use concepts to apply to that, and they kind of pull us out of phenomenological experience. So, being able to switch that off on purpose is really good. Single pointedness is the single pointedness, I guess, is subject and the object are kind of unified. Technical point, we'll get to that. And then bliss and satisfaction. So, when you focus on one object for a long time and you relax into that flow, you find there are two things. One is a physical sense of just happiness and warmth. They say it's like the warmth of a candle fire. It starts to, you just feel relaxed and at ease, and that's because all of your worries, which were concepts, have been turned off, and now you're just a happy animal now, and so you get this nice mental warmth, and then you get the mental satisfaction, which is, when you are doing something, you're solving a problem, and it's a problem you need to solve. You want to solve it, and it's just challenging enough that you're able to do it. You're really good, and everything just has meaning all of a sudden. It's just a beautiful experience of just, you have a purpose and you're pursuing it, and you're physically relaxed, and nothing. It's not that nothing is pulling you away, but nearly all of the distractions have now just subsided. Your mind is like a well-trained horse. It's just walking where you've told it to walk. It's going there. It's happy to go there. It's gonna get there, and there's no worries. If we can achieve a mind like this, then we can really start to do things with our lives. But if we don't have a mind which can focus happily on something which is difficult and challenging, we are just going to get blown about by the winds of our impulses, of capitalism. And that's the huge issue we've got. I mean, there are a lot of issues we've got that really are, as a generation, we've got to start thinking about these things now, because nobody's going to come to the service class and fix this for us. There are many other issues that we're going to face. Algorithms, geopolitics, world wars. We're living through a pandemic. Donald Trump is president of America. There's a lot of problems. We're seeing constant struggles in the streets. The powers that be, which you might assume would change things, they're not watching. They're not going to come into our lives, and they're not going to fix our communities. And our communities have been fragmented by neoliberal capitalism, which sold away all of the long-term jobs and all of the roles which would have given us meaning and shaped our minds to have a happy and content life. They were sold by neoliberal capital in the 80s. And now social media has come in and turned us all into really easily distracted, agitated people. And then on top of that base of that we don't really have jobs that are deeply meaningful, and the fact that we can't even concentrate if we wanted to, then you add on top of that all of the ideas of gender, of race, all of the symbols which were encoded in the prior generations are just being shredded by technology. Technology is literally taking these things and just pulling the threads out of everything. It's pulling everything out, and we're examining it, and we're realizing that none of it was ever really a fundamental truth. And that's, going back to the non-conceptuality aspect, because the real nature of reality is not conceptual. Look, I'm going to leave this now. It's 20 minutes of something. Let me know whether this was too much. I get this criticism a lot, that I am not communicating clearly, and I if I know what it is specifically that I'm talking about, I can really be more precise in what I'm saying. But if this is a good pace and you can keep up with these concepts, then also say that, because this is kind of like what I'd like to go at. But if we haven't really got to anything technical yet, so then there's the practice element of this. So if you are interested in this, I can keep making more stuff. I think I would really enjoy that, so let me know. Anyway, peace.